This is lesson 77, the surface area of cylinders. We'll be on page 158, 159. I don't have my models from school, so I just went in my cabinet and got actually it's tomato soup. I got a tomato soup can, and that's our cylinder. And I took the label off of it, and that label, if you look at it, is our lateral area, see, when we unroll it. But if we're going to cover it totally, we're going to cover the lateral area and we're going to cover the top and bottom. Top and bottom are circles. So if I want to find the surface area of a cylinder, let's first draw a picture. And without our geometer, probably the easiest way to do it, you can draw the top or bottom first. I'm going to draw the top, is just make you an oval. I kind of use the lines of my paper. We do this the other day. Oh, we actually did this. So I've got my ovals. I still didn't get me a straight edge. And I don't see anything. I don't know if that's stiff enough to use or not. And maybe if I fold it. Okay. And then I'm going to make my sides. I'm going to come down about 2 lines. And then I'm going to do the back dotted. And then I'll do the front. So we're going to let the height of our can be 8 centimeters. And we're going to let the radius of our can be, let's let it be 2 centimeters. So if we want to cover it, when you get ready to cover the lateral area, so we've got lateral area, total surface area, equals lateral area, which is going to be a rectangle, plus 2 bases, which are going to be circles. Now, let's talk about our lateral area of this rectangle, and I'll just sketch it. Kind of sketch what we have here. Okay, it came off of the can. And so the height of the can is the height of the label, which is 8 centimeters. Now, the question is, what is this distance right here? Well, if I roll it back up, if you can see it, it's actually, and if I put it back on the can, it's actually the distance around the circle. See? It's actually the distance around the circle. So, the distance around a circle, if you think about your base, got a base that has a radius. This is the base, and this is the lateral area, the rectangle. And the base has a radius of 2 centimeters. And so my question is, this distance is this distance. Let's see if I've got a marker. Okay, this distance here, is this distance right here as I'm doing it. And we know that is the circumference of circle. We'll do it like that. So how do you find the circumference of a circle? Now be careful. Remember the area of a circle, cover it is pi squared. We'll use that up here. But to find the area of this, I have to know the distance around the circle. So you don't want to get those two confused. So in this case, the circumference of the circle is C is equal to pi times D is the way most people do it. You can do 2 times the radius, which makes the diameter. It's probably easier just to do this. So I've got pi times my diameter, which is 4 centimeters. Now, if I go ahead and approximate that, if we do the decimal, we just have to be careful about our rounding. So I'm going to actually just leave it 4 pi right now. I like to round in my very last answer. So if I want to find, so if this distance is this distance is this distance, then I know this is 4 pi centimeters. So the lateral area is the area of this rectangle right here, which is 8, we'll just do it up here, 8 times 4 pi. Remember, way back, we did first started area, we did the area of a circle, area of rectangles, and that's 32 pi. Okay, plus, now let's do the area of our base, and we have 2 of them. Now, area of circle, I started not to choose 2 because 2 is a unique number, that 2 times 2 is 4 and 2 squared is 4. So that's a little confusing, but we'll do a different one here in just a second. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. And so we've got pi times 2 squared, which is 4 pi. Now again, that's just the choosing that, and I started to when I first drew the picture. I started not put 2 there, but we'll do another one if that tends to confuse you a little bit. So we've got 4 pi for the area of one of the circles, but we have 2 of them. So I've got 32 pi plus 8 pi. Now, I like to just go ahead and add those. Those add just like variables. 32 pi plus 8 pi is 40 pi. And that's your exact answer. And then you can just multiply it. And I have, you see my calculator, 40 times, and I actually could have just typed pi. Now on this one, it is here, and I get, and I think the instruction says round to 2 decimal places. So I get 125 point, the 3 is going to make the 66 stay the same, 0.66, and we're doing surface area, so that's going to be square centimeters. Now, if you don't have, your calculator that you're using doesn't have a pi key, remember I said the other day, use pi is about 3.141, I think I said 159. That should be enough. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Pi key, 3.14159. Usually that will get you the same answer when you start doing the multiple choice in your classwork. Okay, number 2. I think I'm going to do it on page 159. Okay, this time I think we're going to do a little short squatty can, kind of like a tuna can. So I'm going to make it pretty good size top. And I'm going to make it kind of short. And again, it's not to scale, but you kind of get an idea of what you're working on. We're going to let the height of it be 9 yards. Well, this is a big can. And we're going to let the diameter, we'll put the center right here. We're going to let the diameter, and usually they'll put that number, they'll write it across this so that you know it goes all the way across, like I would write it underneath, and we're going to let it be 12 yards. So that's this distance all the way across. Well, if the diameter is 12, we already know the radius is 6. So why don't we go ahead and state that? We want to cover this. We want to cover the lateral area, which is the label, and we want to cover the 2 bases. So let's do the lateral area first. Again, I'm going to draw the picture. If that helps you, you can do that when you get ready to do your classwork. We know it's 9 yards tall, and we know this distance is the distance around our lid, around our top. Let's see if I've got a highlighter that'll work a little bit better. This distance, yeah, this one's a little bit better, is the same as this distance because you're just wrapping that label around the base. So if I can find this, I can multiply those to get my lateral area, my rectangle, and then I can do the area of a circle. Area equals pi r squared, and this distance is the circumference, which is pi times d. See the difference? So because we've got this, we're going to use the circumference to get the area of the lateral area. And we're going to use the area to find the area of the circle. So let's go ahead and get our rectangle out of the way. So we've got pi times d, And we know the diameter is 12 yards. I'm going to leave that 12 pi. If you go ahead and punch that, I probably would write it several decimal places because, again, you just have to be careful with your rounding. You may not get exactly what the multiple choice gives you. It might be off just a little bit. So be careful about rounding too many times in a problem. So that is 12 pi right here. Now, how do we find the area of that rectangle? We do the length times the width. So we got 9 times 12 pi, which is 108 pi. If you need your calculator, you can do that. Plus, now we've got two bases. So let's find the area of one of these circles. Okay, we knew the diameter was 12, so we knew the R was 6. So we've got pi times 6 squared, which is 36 pi. Usually you'll write the pi afterwards. That's okay. You treat it like a variable, but it's not a variable. It's a number, and that's one of the circles. Okay, so we got two of those. And let's type this into, I'll go ahead and do this one. That's going to be 108 pi plus 72 pi, which is exactly, and I'm not putting, let's see, equals on these. I should be putting equals on here. So I've got 108 plus 72. That's exactly 180 pi. Now I'm going to do my rounding, if I can find my calculator. And I've got, let's see if I can get it where you can see it, 180. And if you have a pi key, you can just do 180 pi. And I got 565 point, and if we rounded 2 decimal places, that would be 0.49 square yards.